Bambi, please don't join them. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry. Now let me jump off this cliff, okay? That's the only way to join them, and I promise you I'm not gonna revive myself. So, once you be left alone in darkness, then you see if you join them. Cause you only don't do nothing when I'm alive. But when I'm dead, you want to do it. So I'm gonna unalive myself, and I'm gonna not revive back, and I'm gonna be trapped inside that cage as well. And I'm gonna see if you want to join now. If you ever wanted a case to bring, if you ever wanted a chance to bring Sierra back, then her friends maybe shouldn't have never critted on her. Because if they didn't crit it on her, she wouldn't be in there in the first place. So now you're the last person on Earth. Goodbye. Bambi! No. Oh no, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I'm the only one here. Everything is complete silence. And then Dave didn't worry nothing about it. He cooked hot dogs for himself and continued his day. By the next day, he thought it would wind him down if he thought of something else. So he thought of the memories of Sear's friends, and it just made him depressed. So he stayed in bed until exhaustion and depression consumed him and took him over. And that's when Dave started to go insane. By the next day, Dave only heard nothing. No birds were chirping, no talking, no sounds of cars, just pure silence. Dave went outside and saw Bambi trapped in that cage. He tried a lot of methods. He even used his powers, but none of them didn't work. Dave even saw his adopted son in there, which made him traumatized. He couldn't believe it. All of his friends were trapped, and they were never coming back. So Dave was the only person left on this world, and there were only two options: to stay on this world or unalive himself. He thought about that for 2 weeks, and then the sky started turning gray. Everything started turning grayscale. So then all of a sudden, also this is kind of a Mouse Avi reference, so don't tell me that. Back to the video. Then Dave was literally walking through an empty street with a depression gray sky as depressing music plays. He scrolled through the streets. He even literally had dragged his car through, and he didn't saw no one. He saw nobody. He didn't even see trophies. Cause by now, Sierra, trophies, are both of them would pop up by now and say hi to him. Dave will never be used to that. He's very traumatized that he sees all of his friends trapped in a cage and unable to move, eat, or speak. Dave started going insane. The loneliness, the isolation, he couldn't handle it anymore. So he went insane and turned 3D. but he didn't have nobody to take his anger out on. He even went to the 3D realm, and nobody was there. Everybody was unalived in that cage. And the only way to get them out, nobody told him this. The only way to get them out is to get them out with your heart, which is to tell you how much of a friend you are to them. But Dave didn't know that. He thought the only way was to unalive himself. Dave was so scared that he literally shakes himself to sleep and cries himself to sleep every night that happened. So Dave couldn't take it anymore. So he went to the same bridge that Bammy was. And he still seen his unalive body right over there. Dave had no source of hope in him. So he was just about to jump off when he heard something. He turned around and he actually saw the actual last person on Earth with him. And that was Bandu. He decided not to give up. So actually, not everyone was in that cage. The only people who were left was Bandu and Dave. And also, Bandu had tears all over his face because he was traumatized that his brother was unalived. And his cousin. Dave tried his best to comfort him, but he couldn't handle it. And Bandu also tried his best to unalive himself, but Dave stopped him. They were actually starting to become close friends. And then they finally tried to free one of Seer's friends. But of course that didn't work. Their sanity decreased as every day passed. And even they went to stores and restaurants. Nobody was there but them. At least they could get food for free because no workers were there. But still, it was an empty world. And everything was still grayscale. Everything was grayscale. And depressed music always played. They got more traumatized as every day passed. The more days passed, the more depressed they get. And every day, Bandu would sit in front of his brother's cage and would cry. He would bawl his eyes out right in front of them. While Dave would tell Bammy how much he loved him. Holding his tears back. But Dave didn't much like Dave's here, even though he still cared about her. The only reason why he didn't even muchly like her was because she had a crush on him. But he still wanted. They all still wanted him back. He still wanted them all back. And then one day, One day when Banu wasn't looking, he saw Dave in the cage as well. And Bandu realized he went to the cliff and seen Dave right over there, right next to Bambi. He was so traumatized. He was so scared. Then, all of a sudden, something happy happens. So then, the sun started turning yellow. So everything started turning back again. But still, he was alone. Everything turned it back to normal, except they were still in the cage. They were completely gray and they didn't move. 11 views for part 2. See you later.